Why do I use a lot of functional medicine testing and functional medicine labs? Well, it's because it helps me dive a little bit deeper into the root cause, and it also helps me with prevention as well as optimizing your health and wellness. So let's break down the difference between conventional lab testing and functional medicine testing. So first of all, when interpreting functional medicine tests, or functional medicine testing, there's often a tighter reference range that we're looking at. And this reference range is not generally used to, say, diagnose disease. It's more about optimizing your health and wellness or looking for prevention. When you do any sort of traditional lab testing, so you go to your primary care and you get your blood draw and you're looking at your hemoglobin A1C or looking at your lipids or looking at your thyroid, those tests are really just looking to say, do you have disease? Do you have hypothyroidism? Do you have hyperthyroidism? Are you diabetic? And generally, those are just a yes or no type answer. When we are looking at more functional medicine testing, and we can even look at conventional labs with this functional medicine approach, when we do this, we tighten that reference range. And in doing so, what our goal is to say, where is the optimal number that this lab should fall in? An optimal meaning of the people who are not having disease or other people who are healthy. What do their labs look like? And that is a key difference here. So when looking at labs, reference ranges can actually vary based on location and based on population. So say a reference range here in the US may be different from a reference range in Europe. And that's because we have different populations and we have a lot more sick people, generally speaking. And so you often see a wider reference range as to what is considered healthy or what is considered a non-disease state. Now, the difference here, hang with me, is that with functional medicine, we're looking to really optimize. We're not looking necessarily for disease. We're looking to how healthy can we be and how can we optimize our health and what should that number be. So this is a different way of approaching your health and wellness, and a different way, I like to think of it more as health care rather than sick care that we tend to practice more so in our conventional system. So aside from the different reference ranges, there are also different types of tests that are available when you're looking at functional medicine testing. Now, this can be things like stool testing, food sensitivity testing, can be hormone testing, it can be looking at gut health markers, it can be looking at genetic markers, etc., etc. There are a lot of different types of tests out there. And with these tests, one of the conveniences is they are generally available for you to do at home. There are different types of collections, so anything from a finger prick where you get a little bit of blood, or they can be a stool test, that you collect at home. It can be a urine test, or it could also be a saliva test, or even sometimes a hair test as well. So why would you want to use one of these tests? Well, one of the things that I tend to use them for is really helping to dig deeper into why someone is having a lot of fatigue, feeling a lot of anxiety. Maybe they have unexplained weight gain, or it's difficult for them to lose weight even though they're keeping everything the same. They may have a lot of insomnia. So I'm not necessarily looking to diagnose them with, fatigue or with insomnia, but I am trying to figure out why they have it. What is the root cause? Where has the body kind of gone wrong? And these types of tests can give me a lot of insight into that. Let's take, for example, something like a stool test. Now, stool testing is looking kind of at your entire GI system as well as looking into your immune system, and it gives you a peek, as to what's going on under the hood, so to speak. This can be useful in a number of different scenarios. It can be useful for looking for things like fatigue, for, obviously gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, those types of things, but also looking at, are you absorbing food properly? Is your microbiome imbalanced? Do you have an overgrowth, or do you have an infection? Is there something here that may explain the weight gain or why you're having difficulty digesting certain foods? So there's a lot of gold to be had here in these types of tests because they give you a lot of insight. And for me, they also help me determine what recommendations to make as far as diet and lifestyle and supplements as well. Let's take, for instance, the example of someone who is having, digestive issues or having difficulty with with their weight, or they're having a lot of joint pain and they're feeling really fatigued all the time. Sometimes I'll run a stool test and find out that this individual has something like leaky gut. A lot of times it will not matter what changes they make to their diet until they, heal the gut, remove the offending pathogens or remove the offending foods and heal the gut lining. A lot of times they will still have trouble no matter what changes they've made to their diet otherwise. So having that stool test can make all the difference in the world into how quickly they're able to resolve that, get back on track, be able to eat more foods, and eventually have more energy. So you can see how these tests can become really important and really helpful in really getting to the root cause of whatever is going on. Another type of test I often will use is a hormone test as well. Yes, you can do traditional blood hormone tests as well with your, normal primary care, but there are other options when looking at hormones. And I'm not talking just, sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, but I'm also talking about things like cortisol and insulin as well. So I will often look at hormones through a dried urine test and also through different saliva tests as well. They again really help me determine why someone might be having symptoms of, fatigue. Well, if your cortisol is sky high at night when you're trying to go to sleep, and you didn't know that unless you saw your cortisol curve on this type of test, well, it kind of doesn't matter what other intervention you do unless you're doing something to help bring that cortisol level down. And so again, having this test can help you kind of shortcut right into the root cause and give you somewhere to start. Another test that I often use is an organic acids test. Now, again, this is generally a urine test, and it's looking at different metabolites or waste products from different type of vitamins and minerals. So these vitamins and minerals, things like your B vitamins, vitamin A, different types of antioxidants, glutathione, et cetera, are often used in different types of metabolic reactions that happen throughout the body. And a lot of times, if we don't have enough of these nutrients, or if we have a pathway that's not working really well, a pathway is sluggish, it can slow down these metabolic processes, or it can lead to feelings of, of fatigue, of feelings of anxiety, of feelings of, changes in your mood. So looking at a test like this helps me determine, okay, with your nutrition, are we getting enough from food, or do we need to maybe supplement with, some additional B vitamins if you're, maybe burning through them because you're very stressed out. This helps on a number of levels. One, it helps me make appropriate recommendations, but it also helps you not waste time or money on, supplements that you might not need. And it helps you identify gaps in your nutrition. Ideally, I want everybody to get, all their needs met through what they're eating, but most of the time that's just not realistic. So using a test like this can give us a lot more insight and help me really make efficient, timely, and cost-effective recommendations that are going to actually be useful. Now, there are a multitude of other tests out there. There's things like food sensitivity testing, genomic testing, looking at your genetics and your different pathways, cardio labs. There's a lot of stuff out there, but these are really just kind of the basics that I generally start with. So if you have been struggling with things like stress, anxiety, fatigue, difficulty, with weight loss, problems with your digestion, I want to empower you. I want you to know that things are out there to help you get to the root cause. If you need help with anything like that, you can learn how to work with me and learn more about these labs inside of my coaching program, The Better Health Blueprint. You can click on the link down in the description box below and you can learn more about how to work with me. All right, I hope that this video was helpful and that you've learned something. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments below. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.